Capitalism's a religion that makes Satan a god. And
to countless fans, Immortal Technique is a revolutionary rapper. Those hearing him for the first time will notice it's not your conventional packaged and branded hip-hop.
Who really made Bin Laden the man that he is? The CIA.
Tech is as much an artist as he is a political activist. Lyrically tackling issues like war, poverty, and racism, this New Yorker makes no apologies for his words or perspectives.
Most, if not all, of your lyrics focus on political issues and socioeconomic inequalities that are taking place domestically and internationally. At this point in time, with all the problems mounting up all over the world, what are you focusing on?
Most recently, one of the larger things that I was focused on was the situation in Afghanistan. And actually, we had this conversation off camera, so we'll just get into it right now. The litmus test that is provided for our justification of invasion of another country. I think that while a lot of people would question our entrance into Iraq, and they said we should have never gone to Iraq, we should have never gone to this country, never. There's some people that say we showed up to Bosnia too late, you know, we should have gone there earlier. And the question is, well, what is the litmus test? When should we invade? Some people say, oh, well, what about Rwanda? Shouldn't we have gone there? So at some point we have to confront the circumstances that are behind when the United States of America finally releases its military force to aid or to topple the regime. And I don't think that that's clearly defined. I think that there are talking points people come up with to say, all right, this person's a bad person, this person's a dictator, they treat their people terribly. That's fine, but we also are at peace and we support plenty of dictators who treat their people horribly. And we have done that systematically over the years. We used our Cold War with Russia in the past to justify behavior like this, claiming that if we didn't, all of a sudden it would fall to the communists and the economy would turn into a wash for us, that we wouldn't have access to any natural resources, everything would be nationalized. And now I don't think that we can really use that excuse anymore, so we come up with other ones. Oh, they're going to be taken over, they'll become a safe haven for terrorism or whatever it may be. But I think that as time progresses with any occupation, it begins to be revealed what the real reasons for us invading a country are, and they're to benefit us and to benefit our corporations rather than the safety of the civilians either there or here.
Well, the reason that was given to the American people and the world at large for the U.S. Invading Afghanistan was 9/11. Was that following the September 11th attacks, the American administration said that Osama bin Laden was responsible for the attacks on America.
I would believe and I would completely concur if we had actually finished the job there when we had had the chance, instead of pulling out and then coming up with 7 different reasons for invading Iraq. You know, first one didn't work out because they didn't have a nuclear weapon, which I remind people that was the catchphrase. They might be able to develop a nuclear capability, and nuclear, or as George Bush said, a nuclear, you know, whatever it may be, but that was continuously drilled into the heads of the American public. Then when nuclear was ruled out, chemical weapons. Oh, well, he might have chemical weapons. Well, if he has any left over from the ones that we helped him stockpile, then that would be a concern for the surrounding area. But then all of a sudden it became, okay, though there's no large, huge stockpiles of chemical, biological weapons, so now we're trying to help the people. Now this is a democratization effort. So I think that when we look back, we can find justifications for certain things, and I think that if we wanted to address the Taliban and how wicked they were to their people, why weren't we doing that in 2001 when we were giving them millions and millions of dollars to supposedly destroy their poppy crops, or inviting them here as foreign diplomats without the full criticism of the administration at the time? I
read that you said that 9/11 was a crime with a motive. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think that when we talk about 9/11, I myself don't like to give into conspiracy. So I just say that while I can't come here and say to people, oh, I know exactly what happened, that I know that the government's version is definitely not true, because they couldn't even tell the truth about the air to breathe after that occurred. They said that it was safe, that it was fine. And then when people developed these respiratory illnesses, and a lot of the first responders got very, very sick, some of them died, they went into full deniability mode. So someone that can't even tell me the truth about whether I can breathe this air or not, it really makes me question what else they said. You know, when I talk about it having a motive, I think that it was used as a catalyst to justify several other actions, or countless numbers of actions, I should say.
Such as war?
Not just war, but consolidation of power within America. The war on the outside, I think, is more of a distraction, unfortunately, for the American people to kind of look and point at and even rally in the streets about. But even if you go to a rally, and this is not a criticism of activism by any means, only a helpful hand to educate more people and make them understand that, look, even if we do 100,000, 500,000 people in front of Washington protesting a war, at the end of the day, what did we do? We spent a lot of gas money getting there. We helped the local economy by buying all that food that we did when we went there. And what did we really achieve? Moving people from one place to another. We're not really speaking their language. Their language is money, you know? And what they do over and over is take a action that occurs outside of this country, and while the public is completely focused on that, begin to reorganize what's happening here in America with the Patriot Act, with going after people who have some sort of criticism of America, with discrediting individuals who would even question the smallest concern that they have in terms of what the government's doing behind closed doors.